guys, welcome back to Style with Substance. Today's video is one that's quite close to my heart because obviously I'm talking about my parents, and I just kind of want to share my thoughts on how I feel that my parents have put me on the path to success. And I talk about success in all different avenues, so success in my career, in relationships, and just in my every day-to-day life. So if you want to hear some of the lessons that my parents instilled in me to make me the person that I've become today, then please keep watching. Particularly if you are either my mum or my dad. So the first key lesson in life that my parents taught me is discipline. Now, obviously, as you guys know, I am Ugandan, so obviously grown up in an African culture, the Ugandan culture, and discipline is very big in both of those. And not to say it's not in any other culture, but in Africa, discipline is essentially what helps you raise children. My parents are very much from that, and my parents are very much from that school of thinking where if your child is very well behaved, then you've kind of done really well in your life. And how my parents disciplined me were basically teaching me the lessons in life that, you know, are priceless. So not lying, not stealing, not hitting other people, not talking back, and doing your chores. And that is a few of the very key lessons that they taught me. And if I did any of the things that I wasn't supposed to do, so if I lied, if I stole, if I ever cheated, or if I ever spoke back to them, or if I was ever rude, or if I didn't do my chores, then I would be disciplined. And you know, in the African culture back in the day, it was very much that you give a child a smack if they misbehave. So that very much taught me that if I don't want to be smacked, I don't do those things. Now, I'm not here trying to tell you how to raise your children, and I'm not here suggesting that smacking works for every child. Every child is different, and for some people that is totally unacceptable, like they don't want to smack their children, and for some people it's the only way that their children will listen. So I don't want to cause any controversy around that topic, but all I'm saying is it definitely works for me and for my siblings. And I think that the fear or the respect that we had for knowing that if we don't do what we're supposed to do, or if we misbehave, that would be the consequence. So it's all about consequences. It's about teaching your children that if they do certain things, there will be certain consequences. So however you want to teach them that, it's totally up to you. But I digress. That discipline really worked for me, and it taught me the skills that I have now. It made me the well-rounded and moral person that I am today. So I am extremely grateful for that. And those are skills that I'll take with me into the rest of my life and also instill in children of my own. So another reason why I think my parents put me on the path to success is because of my work ethic. My parents have always been hard workers by nature, and you know, not just because they need to put food on the table for us kids, but just simply because hard work pays. Yes, smart work pays, but sometimes you've got to put in a good hard slog before you see any results. And the first lessons I learned about hard work and, you know, waking up constantly every morning and going into work even when you were tired, sick, not in the mood, was from my parents, and I saw them do that day in and day out for me and my siblings, and we never went without anything that we ever needed. Okay, so we didn't have all the gadgets and trinkets and toys and latest clothes or designer this or designer that when we were growing up, but we always had food on our table, clothes on our back, and a shelter and a house to live in. So I learned everything I know about hard work and being diligent and just putting your head down and getting on with it from my parents. Another thing that I think put me on the path to success is reading. And my mum was a very strong advocate for us reading from a very young age. I remember the house which we grew up in had a huge cupboard that was solely just full of books. Okay, we didn't have a library or anything, but at the time, that was a lot of books for one family to have. And it was a mix of like fiction and psychological stuff, business stuff, romance novels, whatever. But I learned about books from her. And from going to school and bringing back books and reading them with her every day. And that's where I really kind of built up my love for reading and writing as well. Reading lots of fiction really kind of helped to develop my writing style, and I really learned to express myself because I've never really been somebody who expresses themselves as well speaking, though as a child I was very talkative, but as I grew up I kind of grew out of that. But my writing was where I came alive, and that was solely down to the fact that I read so many books. My mum and some of my aunties as well have always been a really strong advocate for reading. I think reading is exercise for the mind, and I don't think you can be a well-rounded person particularly as an adult, if you're not reading and stretching your mind with lots of different thoughts. However you take in your information, whether that's reading, watching videos, listening to people talk, whatever, but reading for me was one of the key things that I learned from my parents. So the next way that I feel like my parents put me on the path to success is not being afraid to dream. I always used to get in trouble for daydreaming in class, and my parents used to think that was because I wasn't focused on my schoolwork or whatever, but it was literally just because I would sit there and imagine the kind of life that I wanted for myself when I grew up. I used to do the same thing at night. I used to go to bed and always imagine like my life as an adult, and I'd kind of imagine all the like fancy suits that I'd wear, the kind of job I'd be doing, what my hair would look like, what my makeup would look like, what my husband would look like just what my flat would look like. Just I used to imagine like my entire life, like to a T. And I think my parents, both as much as they might not like to admit it, have also always had a vivid imagination, and they've always encouraged us to dream about things that we've wanted, but not just to dream about them, but to put in your mind a picture of the kind of life that you wanted to live. I remember one of the first books my mum gave me was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that cover to cover without stopping, and when I finished reading it, I knew from that moment on that I would always want to buy a house. And I read that book when I was about 15, so I didn't know what my income situation would be like, but it's just that dreaming and that imagination and that creativity that they instilled in us, because we saw them do it as well. We used to have countless chats about what we'd do if we ever won the lottery, or if we ever won a large sum of money, and how we'd spend it. And we used to do it on a regular basis. So I think just that dreaming and that getting your imagination going, you know, really kind of put a picture in our mind. And the final thing is goals and goal setting. When we were younger, we did call them New Year's resolutions, and I don't know why everyone gets so upset about calling them New Year's resolutions. It's all the same thing. It's a goal, it's a resolution, it's a plan, it's a whatever you want to call it. It's working towards something tangible that you've written down. And my parents always used to encourage us to set our goals at the beginning of every year and work towards them. And you'd always have a bigger goal in mind, but you'd have smaller goals for each year that you'd work towards to help you achieve your bigger goals. And I remember buying a house was one of my first really big goals, and the working towards them was saving money, moving back home, and kind of doing that for a while and looking. And then I was lucky enough to meet my now fiance, and saving together and getting on the property ladder a lot quicker. And there were points in time where I really did feel like I wanted to give up. Like I was just like, I'll just rent, I'm never going to be able to do this. And my parents always encouraged me to go for it. And it speaks volumes about them, because in the African culture, it's generally you don't buy a house with someone before you're married and you've kind of like, you know, lived with them after marriage, etc. But they were happy for us to go ahead and get on the property ladder, because they knew it was one of the things that I really wanted to achieve in my life. And, you know, now that we kind of really take it seriously, like we'll at the beginning or towards the end of every year, we'll have like goal setting sessions where everyone will talk about what they're trying to achieve for the year. And it's really motivating and really encouraging, and we'll kind of check in with each other mid-year and just really like keep everybody spurred on and keep them going. The final thing is communication. I think communication is a very key part of having successful relationships. And in my family growing up, we've always been people who communicate well. We always talk to each other. We have full-on sessions where everyone just speaks about what's on their heart. We are a family of communicators, and if anyone is ever unhappy, we will voice it in an open and loving and friendly forum. And communication is one of the key things I'll take into my own family life and to my own relationship with my fiance, and, you know, when we're married, and also with my friends. And I think it's the most important thing. Like, if people don't know what's on your heart and you don't know how to communicate that, that's where a lot of problems begin and manifest and continue on. And I think really successful people are really effective communicators. So yes, I want to dedicate this video to my mum and my dad and all the things that they've taught me, and just the positive role models that they've been in my life, and through the way in which they've always strived for success, both for themselves and for us. So mum, dad, I thank you. If you've watched this video all the way through, thank you for watching. And why don't you share with me what your parents or what your big role models in life have taught you that have helped put you on the path for success, or just for the path of happiness. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do come back to my channel for more videos. I post my sort of lifestyle types of videos, so things like this, on a Tuesday, and I'll post more style, beauty, fashion related videos on a Thursday, and I'll post a vlog every week just to show you what I've been up to. So subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. All the links will be in the description box below, and thank you for sticking with me. Bye. I chill tonight, probably watch a movie with Mr. Man, have some quality couple time, as tomorrow I've got a gym. But also the vicar from our church called me today and asked to come over. Now I don't know if this is like usual practice when you first start going to a church for the first time. Does the vicar or pastor or whatever call you and ask to come round, and if so, what is it about? Like, I didn't feel like I could ask on the phone. It was just a bit awkward. I just kind of said, yeah, come round for a cup of tea, so type thing. So he's coming around tomorrow at 8:30. But obviously, hopefully, I don't know how long he's going to stay because I need to get my workout in, obviously. So maybe I'll try to get back early and get back for when he's here. I don't know.